is Richard Wiley and I work for a company called Marketing Matters. This is part 2 of chapter 2, which is dealing with market share. In part 2 we will have a look at the following elements. We will look at the share of requirements, heavy usage index, awareness, attitudes and usage, the metrics of the hierarchy of effects, customer satisfaction and willingness to recommend, and willingness to search. The share of requirements. The purpose of the share of requirements is to understand the source of the market share in terms of breadth and depth of consumer franchise as well as the extent of relative category usage. In other words, heavy users with larger customers or light users and smaller customers. The definition of the share of requirements is a given brand's share of purchases in its category measured solely amongst customers who have already purchased that brand, also known as a share of wallet. It is calculated solely among the buyers of a specific brand. It is a key measure of loyalty and it guides a firm's decision on whether to allocate resources towards expanding a category, taking customers from competitors, increasing share of requirements amongst established customers. In order to calculate the share of requirements, the unit share of requirements expressed as a percentage is worked out by taking brand purchases divided by total category purchases by brand buyers. Revenue share of requirements, also expressed as a percentage, is brand purchases divided by total category purchases by brand buyers. For example, in 1 month the unit purchases of Aloha brand sunscreen came to 1 million bottles. Among the households that bought Aloha, the total purchases of sunscreen came to 2 million bottles. Therefore, share of requirements is Aloha purchases divided by category purchases by Aloha customers. Therefore, 1 million divided by 2 million is a 50% share. In order to calculate market share, or analyzing the overall market share is calculated by taking penetration share times by share of requirements times by heavy usage index. Therefore, share of requirements can be calculated indirectly by decomposing market share. Share of requirements, expressed as a percentage, is market share divided by penetration share times by heavy usage index. Data sources, complications and cautions. Double jeopardy. Marketers strive for a niche position that yields high market share through a combination of low penetration and a high share of requirements. It is difficult to achieve a high share of requirements without also attaining a high penetration share. It can be difficult for customers to maintain loyalty to brands with a low market share. Related metrics and concepts. Sole usage, the fraction of a brand's customers who use only the brand in question. Sole usage percentage is a proportion of a brand's customers who only use that brand's products and do not buy from competitors. They are die-hard, loyal customers. Sole usage, expressed as a percentage, is calculated by taking customers who only buy the brand in question divided by the total brand customers. Related metrics and concepts continued. A number of brands purchased is marketers must consider the average number of brands purchased by consumers of that brand versus the average number purchased by all customers in that category. Repeat rate is the percentage of the brand's customers in a given period who are also brand customers in the subsequent period. Repurchase rate is the percentage of customers for a brand who repurchase that brand on their next purchase occasion. Heavy usage index is the ratio that compares the average consumption of products in a category by customers of a given brand with an average consumption of products in that category by all customers for the category. It is a measure of the relative intensity of consumption. It indicates how heavily the customers for a given brand use the product category to which the brand belongs, compared with the average customer for that category. The purpose is to define and measure whether a firm's consumers are heavy users. When a brand's index is greater than 1.0, this means that its customers use a category to which it belongs more heavily than the average customer for that category. To calculate heavy usage index, you take the average total purchases in category by brand customers divided by average total purchases in category by all customers for that category. Data sources, complications and cautions. Heavy usage index does not indicate how heavily customers use a specific brand, it only indicates how heavily they use a specific category. Awareness, attitudes and usage, metrics of the hierarchy of effects. It features a range of questions that aim to shed light on customers' relationships with a product or brand. These questions may include: who are the acceptors or rejectors of the product? How do customers respond to a replay of advertising content? The purpose of this is to track trends in customer attitudes and behavior. Customers pass through a particular process in the hierarchy of effects. First of all, they go from lack of awareness to purchasing the product, then finally becoming loyal to the brand. AAU metrics are designed to track these stages of knowledge, beliefs and behaviors, and may also track who actually uses the product. Awareness and knowledge. Awareness is the percentage of potential customers or consumers who recognize a given brand. Top of mind is the first brand that comes to mind when a customer is asked an unprompted question about the category. Ad awareness. The percentage of target customers or accounts who demonstrate awareness of a brand's advertising. Brand or product knowledge is the percentage of surveyed customers who demonstrate specific knowledge or beliefs about a brand or product. Coordination of what customers believe and how strongly they feel about it. Attitudes, liking and image is a rating assigned by consumers, normally on a scale of 1 to 5, when survey respondents are asked their level of agreement with propositions such as, "This is a young brand." Perceived value for money is a rating assigned by consumers on a scale of 1 to 5 when survey respondents are asked their level of agreement with propositions such as, "This brand usually represents good value for money." Perceived quality or esteem is a consumer rating on a scale of 1 to 5 of a given brand's product when compared with others in its category or market. Relative perceived quality is a consumer rating scale of 1 to 5 of a brand product compared to others in the category market. Intentions is a measure of a customer's stated willingness to behave in a certain way. Questions such as, would you be willing to switch brands if your favorite was not available? Intention to purchase, a specific measure or rating of customers' stated purchase intentions. Information on the subject is gathered from the responses to surveys with propositions such as, it is very likely that I will purchase this product. Usage is a measure of customers' self-reported behavior. It's purchase frequency in units per purchase. It seeks to determine how many have rejected the brand and how many have adopted the brand into a regular portfolio of brands. Data sources include warranty cards and registration, using prices and random draws to encourage participation. Regular administered surveys are conducted by organizations that interview consumers via telephone, mail, web, and other technologies. Data collection methods include certain techniques in data collection and review that can help managers distinguish between seasonality effects, such as noise, random movement, and signal, which is actual trends and patterns. The following techniques are used. They adjust for periodic changes, try to separate customer from non-customer responses, and they triangulate customer survey data. They also separate leading from lagging indicators. Likability is scored on a Q-score rating, where it's derived from a general survey of selected households in which a large panel of consumers share their feelings about brands. Segmentation by geography or geoclustering is insight into consumer attitudes that can be achieved by separating data into smaller, more homogeneous groups of customers. Customer satisfaction and willingness to recommend. Customer satisfaction is important, and employees of all organizations need to focus on the importance of fulfilling customers' expectations. When these expectations aren't fulfilled, they warn of problems that can affect sales and profitability. is measured at the individual level but reported at an aggregate level. Willingness to recommend. When a customer is satisfied with a product, he or she might recommend it to friends, relatives and colleagues, and is considered as a powerful marketing advantage. Customer satisfaction provides a leading indicator of consumer purchase intentions and loyalty. The principal use is twofold. It is important to tend to customers and ensure they have a positive experience with the company's goods and services. Expectations are a key factor in satisfaction. Market share may show the current performance of a firm. Satisfaction is the best indicator of how likely it is that the firm's customers will make further purchases in the future. Data sources include surveys, which constitute the most frequently used means of collecting satisfaction data. Complications include response bias, where disappointed or angry customers often welcome a means to vent their opinions and satisfied customers will not. Sample selections may distort satisfaction ratings in other ways as well. Must be careful when defining customer satisfaction as meeting or expecting expectations, as expectations may change over time. Trade satisfaction is founded upon the same principles as consumer satisfaction, as it measures the attitudes of trade customers. Number of complaints lodged by customers in a given period is also another important related metric. The willingness to search is the likelihood that customers will settle for a second choice product if their first choice is not available. The percentage of customers who are willing to leave a store without a product if their favorite brand is unavailable. It is also known as accept no substitutes. The purpose is to assess the commitment of a firm or brand's customer base. Brand or company loyalty is a key marketing asset. Marketers must evaluate aspects of it through a number of metrics: repurchase rates, share of requirements, willingness to pay a price premium, and other AAU metrics. Willingness to search helps a company to find out about the attitudes of its customers and whether its position in the market is likely to be defensible against sustained pressure from a competitor. Willingness to search expresses a percentage. It's calculated as a percentage of customers who delay purchases, change stores, or reduce purchase quantities in order to avoid switching brands. Customer loyalty is grounded in a number of factors: satisfied and influential customers who are willing to recommend, hidden values or emotional benefits which are effectively communicated, strong image for the product, the user, or the usage experience. Consumers who are loyal to a brand in the sense of rarely switching may or may not be willing to pay a price premium or recommend it to friends. Different products generate different levels of loyalty, must look for a category of specific norms. Degrees of loyalty also differ with demographic groups. Older consumers have been shown to demonstrate the highest loyalty rates. Customer loyalty remains one of the most important metrics to monitor, as well as the most trickiest as well. Marketers must understand the worth of their brand in the eyes of the customer and the retailer. Here marks the end of part 2 of chapter 2. Thank you very much for listening.